Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, rockin' time is here. That's right. We're talking about Billy Squier's Rock Me Tonight music video for some fucking reason on Kill by Kill. Well, greetings and salutations, Internet. It's your old pal, Patrick Hamilton, and I'm coming to you once again from some sort of industrial space where they make athletic wear. According to this music video, this is Kill by Kill. Video killed the radio star. I can't remember how I introduced it last time. We're killing the radio star. Yeah,
something like that.
Something like that. We're not ready to talk about movies quite yet. We're still getting up to speed, but we did want to leave you hanging. So we're gonna talk about one of the goofiest music videos ever made and talk about it in excruciating detail. And of course, there is only one person I trust, that if the moonlight in the city brings magic to your eyes, she will freeze the moment and leave me paralyzed. The one, the only Gina Radcliffe. How are you doing today, Gina?
Whatever the fuck that means.
I don't think it's nonsense. Is what this entire thing is. Fucking nonsense. And like our last video, this is a magical clusterfuck where you can have a series of decisions that in and of themselves sound like they might make sense. And when you put them all together, you're like, oh my God, no, this is terrible. Please don't do this. And it resulted in the loss of Billy Squier's career.
Yeah, it says a lot when we came up with this idea and you suggested this virtually minutes before I was going to suggest the same video.
I mean, it is a prime fucking example.
Yeah, it's something. It is the result of a person being told to be sexy.
Yeah.
And well, what does that mean? I don't know. Just be sexy.
First of all, if you've never watched or haven't watched Billy Squier's Rock Me Tonight music video in a while, please pause the podcast and watch it, because you're going to be left going, what the hell are they talking about, if you don't have any frame of reference. Usually when we're talking about a movie, you can kind of, pick it up as we go along. But this is so specific that you really do need to kind of get a gauge for it yourself. Secondly, let's talk a little bit before we get into the music video of Billy Squier's career up until this point.
Yeah, he is probably best known for the song The Stroke.
It was a very big hit, although this song was a bigger hit than The Stroke.
Okay.
On radio, this did very well.
Well, that's the running theme here so far in all of our the videos we've talked about is on radio. It did really well.
And then we
saw what these people actually looked like.
Yeah, I mean, Video Killed the Radio Star they didn't come out with that idea out of nowhere. Like the very idea that people were going to have a recorded image in direct correlation to their songs required something out of all sorts of music talent that had never been required of them before. And some people did not measure up. Squier's one of those guys who he was the on-ramp for Def Leppard. Right?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, kind of. If like Van Halen was a little too hard for you, you went with Billy Squier. Like my mom liked Billy Squier.
Right. He's the kind of Van Halen you can take home.
Yes.
Like there's still the arena rock Led Zeppelin.
He sang a Christmas song. And it's a great. I love it. It's like a guilty pleasure of mine. It's like an underrated classic for me.
Yeah, it's better than, Paul's, whatever that thing is. And I went till the 23rd this year without hearing it. Like I had a really good streak. And then on the 23rd, I went into a fucking CVS to grab something and the fuck. I had to hold back the fuck because no one knows what I would be reacting to. But oh my God. Anyways, he sort of has this sort of arena rock thing. He's of a league of Van Halen, of a Journey, kind of in that vein where he's very guitar forward. And weirdly enough, the way his legend actually continues has to do with the song Big Beat, which would go on to be the basis for dozens of hip hop tracks. Like, his yelps and squeals become a thing that DJs drop into songs all the time. Like, you may think you've never heard Billy Squier before this. You have heard Billy Squier and not known that he's there. But yeah, Big Beat, The Stroke would be his bigger songs before this. And he's sort of got that Def Leppard pop tinged, it's not quite heavy metal, although the heavy metal kids can listen to it. And this is the moment where the veil is dropped, because he's still making the vast majority of his money on pop radio. He's a crossover artist. And so he's one of these guys that believes he walks on fucking water. He drives every producer he's ever worked with out the door. He's supposed to work with Mutt Lange, the guy who made Def Leppard. And he's like, I just worked with the Cars. I'm done. I need to go away from music for a while. You find yourself some other rube. And he's like, I don't know. Who's another guy who, helps rock people cross over? Oh, I know. Jim Steinman, the man who made Meatloaf.
Jim Steinman, who really understands subtlety and understatement in music.
Yes. I mean, the man crafted Bat Out of Hell. And what I would consider something that, if we're going to do this again, we have to talk about, and that is Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Oh, God, yes, of course.
That is one of the wildest pieces of footage ever edited together in sequence with a song. It is fucking insane. But Steinman was not involved in the music video here. No, that lies at the feet of the one and only auteur, Kenny Ortega, of Newsies and High School Musical fame.
And Dirty Dancing.
Yes, that's right. But that Dirty Dancing was in the future, and his rear view is Rock Me Tonight.
His rear view is destroying Billy Squier's career single-handedly, yes, with the direction "Be Sexy."
Yes, just get up there. And here's one thing that I want to say before we get started. There's a lot of movement in this music video.
There is a lot of skipping in this video. I don't think there's any music video that involves as much skipping as Rock Me Tonight.
I think these are things that Squier probably brought to the stage and would have been perfectly fine in an era in which no one was recording what you did. When you look at 70s and early 80s era Rolling Stones, it's kind of like, the fuck you doing?
That's a good point. I think that is what he's trying for. So kind of like vague Mick Jagger type of thing.
Yes. And, for whatever reason, it just feels natural to Jagger. And unfortunately, this feels natural to Billy Squier.
Oh, but he is writhing on the floor. He's like doing this like little like Rockettes kick at the end.
Oh, we'll get to it. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, because we're building up to something very interesting. But we open on silk sheets. More silk sheets than any one person should ever have on their bed at any given time.
He had so many silk sheets that he actually falls out of the bed. Literally, they do not reshoot that.
No, I don't believe a second take was ever required for this. Everything in this music video feels like there's a guy off in the corner looking at a watch, going, this is costing us money. We gotta
have this camera back by 5.
Listen, this whole set has to be struck, and we got to bring in different strokes again in here in 5 p.m. As a result, like there's an improv element to it with people who don't know how to improv.
No.
And they're like, just go with it. Just go with it. And they have like 3 cameras running at the same time. Like one that's on a boom arm, one that's, focused on Squier, one that's probably a handheld to get closer up shots. And they're just like, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to run through it. And then we'll make it out of that. And so Squier slides out of bed like he's in Action Park, like you're scared for him. He's moving that fast.
He goes through 3 separate shirt changes.
Well, I would say 2.5 because he starts topless. And again, this is not a show in which we body shame people. And it's not to say that Billy Squier isn't in decent shape at the time. I don't think he's helped with drawstring pants. Though.
No. And then they very meaningfully show close of him pulling that drawstring.
Yes. Standards at the time for being topless on screen for a dude, obviously nowhere near are the insane pushing the limits of the human body that we're currently at, where someone's acting ability is only secondary to their physical appearance. But he's just not done any favors here. But good news, he dons his favorite Flashdance inspired top. But my favorite part is after he puts on the shirt, we're given this whole thing where he exhales like he's about to walk the gallows. Like, which is not really how I want my sexy rock anthems to start. Like, okay, let's do this. I guess this is where we start.
Yeah, Christ.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. You ready to rock me tonight? It doesn't convey really the level of hotness that you want in this sexy rock anthem. It's just, it undercuts the feeling that he's going for, let's say that. But no one stops him. No one stops Kenny Ortega because they can't stop. They have to get it in the can. They've promised the guy who they've paid in cocaine to run this on MTV for an entire 24 hours, and they got to get it to him by noon tomorrow.
Presumably the same producer that recorded Mark Wahlberg's song in Boogie Nights.
Stop telling people they can be pop stars. Of course, that sequence where I've gotten the lifted line that's a YP, not an MP. Abused on this show a lot. But this is where the rubber meets the road, okay? Or the white kids meet the stage floor. Dancing isn't for everyone.
No.
And again, I don't know. I think this is a lot of stage work that Billy's bringing to the music video realm.
He's using every inch of that room.
Yes.
Every inch. If he could climb up the walls, he would be.
So when it comes to upper body, Billy's signature move seems to be an exaggerated full arm finger snap. Like he's aggressively wielding a yo-yo, like he's in competition. And it's just, whoa, wow, wow. Like he's just like slapping a steak down on a table. Like, look at that. He's in this industrial space that I think is like they're smelting fashion. There's a lot of girders and
there's a lot of neon pink lighting.
Yes. He's got a demon elevator from the look of it. And if you go in, you're going down.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of, this is when Billy Squier drops it like it's hot, right to the floor.
He literally does like this sort of like cat person crawl, and I'm like, Billy, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, it's like when my dog has something on its belly that he doesn't like. And he just lets his legs go.
That was a seduction move for him.
He crawls across the floor just on his elbows, belly down, and an elongated dry hump. I'm not really sure.
He rolls over and kind of does this little writhing thing.
It culminates in a pelvic freeze frame, which we don't see much anymore. Just a pelvic thrust freeze frame. This is when we get a great look at the fact that his mattress is on the floor, predating Glenn Danzig. At this point is when he finds the shirt he'll eventually layer onto a different shirt. And he just starts whipping it around almost like he's sexy dish drying.
He's doing a sort of almost like a male stripper routine. And it's weird.
I mean, I think it would have benefited him to see actual male strippers. Like One Night in Paradise is infinitely better. I mean, it's a super weird movie, but infinitely better when it comes to male dance than this. It is wild. The skip, how can I best describe it? It's a modified Ed Grimley.
That's about right.
His knees seem to be locked in a center position, and when he jumps around, the shin and foot part seem to go off at a 45-degree angle. So when you combine that with the yo-yo arms,
and it looks exhausting.
It really does.
It doesn't look sexy at all. It looks exhausting.
Looks terrifying, to be honest with you. I mean, he looks like a puppet who the person piloting him is having the DT shakes. It's so disjointed and so specifically odd, but obviously like he's used to doing it. At one point, he kind of dry humps an iron girder and then descends a pole in a shot that screams, "You want to take two of that?" And so like, "No, we don't have time. What's happening? It's due back here tomorrow." So that's what we get. It's no J-Lo. Let's put it that way.
And then at some point we get him just ripping that shirt off.
Oh, he goes from it's like a windmill air guitar right into the shirt rip.
And then immediately puts on another shirt.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, listen, he got really and this happens to guys, Gina. I don't want to.
Do you regularly just rip off your shirt?
Sometimes you get really excited, and the shirt that you weren't going to rip,
just comes
suddenly you find yourself ripping, and like, oh well. And the other person's like, "Really? You ripped your shirt this early?" And like, "Well, I didn't mean for it to happen. I just got really excited." And like, hold on. I got two other shirts. I'm going to layer this time. This time I'm going to put on a t-shirt, and then I'm going to put on a pink spaghetti strap number.
And then you're going to rock me tonight.
Yeah. Then I'm going to, yes, give me like 10, 15 minutes. And then rocking will happen tonight. This is my solemn pledge to you. Everything I can do to make rocking happen tonight is going to happen tonight.
Just let me sit down. I've been skipping around the room for 5 minutes.
Listen, hold on. I'm going to put on this shirt. Wee. Come on, Patrick. Come on. Come on. You want to rock tonight? Here we go. Rock me tonight. Okay. So, yeah, there's a sequence where he's kind of like to the either side of this bed that looks like maybe he's a marching band leader who's having a seizure during the Rose Parade.
Yeah, he's goose stepping. And again, like this is in service of, this is something very sexy.
Oh yeah.
This will just have ladies just dropping their pants all over the place.
Dropping pants, ripping shirts, everything.
Just ready for it.
Lining up at this factory that smelts leg warmers or some shit.
Because what do women love? Men who can skip.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's not a problem. Like Billy Squier's not. I wouldn't put him in the Kiss Sans makeup lane.
No, I mean he's fine.
He's fine.
He looks exactly like he is, like a second tier hair metal musician. But he's not sexy though.
No, he's not. And you know what really camps this off is that after he marches about this bedroom, and you're about 3.5 minutes into this, and you're thinking, is this all this music video is? And then he goes, whoa, I got a guitar. I'm going to strap this on. And I'm thinking, oh, we're going to get a guitar solo. He's going to dance around with a guitar. And he goes, whoa, I'm going to the demon elevator.
I'm going to meet up with my sexy band.
I'm going to meet up with my sexy band. And then you discover that Billy's sexy band, the only way I can really compare it to is, that scene in Alien Resurrection where Ripley sees all the discarded, unsuccessful clones of herself? That's what the rest of his band looks like distaff, your rejected versions of Billy Squier.
Yeah, one's got he's wearing like a captain's jacket with no shirt underneath it.
Yeah, there's a lot of no buttoning happening.
And other guy's got like a Margaritaville hat on.
Oh yeah, no, the drummer. we could do an extra 20 minutes on just that drummer alone because there's a lot going on. He's overabundant with personality, and really we don't have time for it. He just sucks up all the energy in the room, and he is wearing a hat that says Dotson. We got Dotson over here. See, no one cares, and he's like, I care. It's time for me to hit this kick drum.
Yeah, he's the one who does this odd little like Rockettes kick line with Billy Squier.
It devolves. You feel like this is the 15th time they've gone through the song. And towards the end, they kind of forget that they're playing their instruments and wander away from the synthesizer. And the drummer gets up from the drums, but kind of still hits the hi-hat. And there's a little kick thing that happens on top of the drum riser. And you're kind of like, oh, what is happening? What are we culminating to? And they all just kind of line up in a row, and you look at it and you're like, did someone wash their clothes too much? It all seems very washed out up against a white background. It's a very poor choice for all of them.
Yes.
They're all too white. They all have too much hair. There's not enough buttoning.
There's way too much chest hair.
Oh, it's way too much of everything.
And it's not good chest hair. It's like that sparse chest hair where it's like, why are you bothering?
It's wispy and thin. Either it's a real middle ground, and no one wants to go on that middle ground. That's
We're being so mean in these.
Listen, it's a cavalcade of crazy fucking decisions. Like if I had seen that guitarist from the floor of an arena watching him, I wouldn't care. Like it would probably be fine. I'm sure that guy was swimming in girls or guys, whatever his preference was. He did just fine. Us making fun of him all these years later is probably no skin off his teeth. That being said, when it's captured on film and frozen in time, it looks weird.
Yeah, and as I mentioned in our last episode, it's good to for people who have this very romanticized idea of what the 80s were like to see that no, it was really fucking cheesy and terrible and not good.
Yeah. We're waking people the fuck up because if you think it's all just as cool as Stranger Things and shit,
the pop
I
culture,
want to remind you it was not.
The pop culture in general is not good. I mean, we like to kid ourselves into thinking that everybody was listening to The Cure and the newest in hip hop. No,
really. I mean, listen, we could go down the list of things that my contemporaries were listening to. I was the kid who was listening to hip hop, and partially because everyone else was listening to the worst music.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to remind everyone to listen to the song Kokomo which is the worst thing that's ever been inflicted upon human ears.
It is terrible.
And it was a gigantic hit.
Just could not have been bigger, could not have been more ubiquitous in our monoculture.
When we initially went into lockdown, when I began working from home, I listened to old episodes of Casey Kasem's Top 40 Countdown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it never ceased to amaze me how many terrible songs made it into the top 10. Like, oh God, I remember this song. I forgot it was this popular.
I mean, I think that is true to a certain degree of every generation.
Well, sure.
That is an inherent problem with pop, is that it is ephemeral and it can be so of a moment that it does not live past its moment.
But now Generation X is we're starting to become like boomers in that whole, remember when we were kids that we were allowed to, our parents didn't give a shit about whether we came home at night or not. And, nobody wore seat belts, and then we'd all had tetanus. And,
and then we ended up on milk cartons.
We're starting to get into that place. And I want to remind people that, no, it was not that good.
No, it was just as awkward as it is now. In fact, you're probably better off.
Yeah, the drugs are better now.
Yeah.
The sexual exploration is better now.
You kids with your fun sexual exploration.
Yeah, you kids with being able to sleep with who you want to sleep with.
Yeah, love it. Love that journey for you. So I think we can say, like, not only would I recommend people watch this, but I would also recommend them dipping into Billy's other musical offerings, because you'll be astounded of how much of it you've actually heard in bits and pieces places. Billy Squier's career may have crested and dropped here, although he did have that Christmas hit after this.
There's a whole there's a book about the history of MTV,
Mm-hmm.
and there's an entire chapter devoted to this video, because it is memorably terrible.
It is unbelievably fucking weird. It is a real cat, but he's survived in various forms, and I think ultimately he outlived this video up until the point we talked about it, and then it's all anyone's going to talk about for the next 2 weeks. I can't imagine any other news story taking it off of the fingertips of America. Yeah. So that just about does it. Gina, where can people find you on these here internets?
I write about movies and TV at thespool.net, and I am on Twitter far too much for my own mental well-being under Porcelain72.
Do it today. People will check it out. Of course, we're on your socials at Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, occasionally. And of course we have where I have a Patreon where you can find more content. Our artwork is by Josh Hollis, and our music by Revenge Body. Memphis.bandcamp.com is where you can find Revenge Body. Do it today. Lots of fun remixes there and great music beyond our theme as well. That does it. Listen, I don't know what's going to happen next week, y'all.
If you have a video that you want us to break down,
let us know.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is fun.
We're into this as a side project, is something maybe we continue exclusively on Patreon, or we break it out on occasion. I couldn't tell you which, but we're working our way towards it, people. We just need a little bit of time and a little bit of space. I promise you, the body count will continue. So for myself and for Gina, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.